Sometimes, Winston. Sometimes they're 5. Sometimes they're 3. Sometimes they're all of them at once.
Hello, Black Lives Matter, kneeling seems to be all the rage at the moment, doesn't it? The Western world, or certainly the Anglosphere, seems to be falling on its sword and just rolling over, having its tummy tickled by the Marxists that are just saying we want you to. And because they're using the fear, the horrific fear of being called a racist if you don't agree with them, is enough. Utter weakness. Absolute weakness from our entire establishment. Obviously the flames fanned by the media, who are controlled by, well, I don't know. It's so weird because I rationalise it in my head. I think, hang on a minute, these globalists, they don't want Marxism, but they don't care. It's going to be Marxism, it's going to be socialism, communism 3.0 or 4.0 or something. It's going to be whatever it's going to be very fucking strange. But it feels like it's just on course, and nothing is going to happen. Nothing's going to change it. I don't know. Anyway, kneeling. According to Wikipedia, it's a human position where your knees touch the ground. Alright, so obviously it means a lot more than that. It's a signalling. Well, it's a demonstration of your submission, I suppose. In this case, I mean, if you kneel before your significant other, the person that you love, when you propose to marry them, that's you opening up to them. That's you offering your soul to them, isn't it? In every single way, and hopefully it's receptacle. It's you get that back in response if you've got a decent relationship. Other good reasons to kneel would be, if you are a religious type, to worship your God. I have sort of argued with myself as an atheist, but a cultural Christian, would such an all-powerful being really need for people to kneel and to submit to them? But actually, I found an interesting paragraph while I was, and I'm just going to read from this. Hope you forgive me for looking down. Aristotle called it a barbaric form of behaviour. St. Augustine agreed with him in a certain respect. The false gods were the only masks of demons who subjected men to the worship of money and to self-seeking, thus making them servile and superstitious. He said that humility of Christ and his love, which went as far as the cross, have freed us from these powers. We now kneel before that humility. The kneeling of Christians is not a form of inculturation, I can't speak very well, into existing customs. It is quite the opposite, an expression of Christian culture which transforms the existing culture through a new and deeper knowledge and experience of God. Sounds very nice, very convincing. So yeah, kneeling in worship to your God is good, I guess. The Queen. If ever I'm, Neil Winston, Rise Sir Winston happens, it's unlikely. I think I've spoken out a few too many times about my displeasure at the Queen. But, if that ever happened, that's when you would kneel as well. And even I really have lost some respect for the person, for a lack of just monarchy, leading the country and defending the faith and things like that. I do respect the title, the position. I'm a monarchist at heart, I suppose. I want some reform, but and another reason why I might kneel would be my new job, where I'm stacking shelves sometimes and kneeling down to put things on the bottom shelf. And by the way, if you ever are in a supermarket and there's a slightly portly chap on his knees putting stuff away, maybe ask somebody else where the body lotion is. Alright? Right, bad reasons to kneel. Before Zod.
Kneel before Zod.
Superman didn't kneel when he tricked him. Skeletor demanded He-Man kneel. And Black Lives Matter and other sanctimonious pricks. are demanding it, and by God, are people doing it. So we've seen football players basically keep their jobs by kneeling. I wonder how many of them really didn't want to. You know, how many based footballers there are who just were like, oh, Jesus Christ, I need this money, you know, I can't do without it. But please, let there be one celebrity like that, or one, you know, one of them stand up and actually put their dignity before their paycheck. Oh, please let it happen. It's not going to, is it? Ant and Dec have apologised. I think they did blackface at some stage. I mean, they're come for everybody. So there's no point in apologising, because it doesn't matter. Once you've apologised, they've got you as an admission of guilt. And then they'll just use that to batter you with. It's never going to stop. So the best thing you can do is just say, fuck you, and not do it. I actually really want them to try this where I work. And, you know, for them to say, right, we're all going to kneel, and I can just be the only one standing there. Hopefully not the only one, but probably. And another good reason, I was chatting with one of my new colleagues, a particularly based lady, and she said the only time she kneels is when she's kneeling in front of her boyfriend to give him a blowjob. There you go. Perfectly good reason as well, I would have said. Anthony Joshua, very, very disappointed that he said in his speech, and I believe he was reading somebody else's speech, but you said the words, you know, for people not to buy things made by white people. Anthony Joshua, are you aware that your incredible popularity and enormous wealth obviously is based on your incredible skill as a boxer, but also, and I'm a fan, but also so many of the people that adore you and buy your pay-per-view fights and you probably your merchandise and things like that, they're white. And you've just been incredibly racist to them. That's incredibly racist. If anybody said the reverse, they would be sacrificed for it. It would be outrageous. And we're losing, so far, was 40 Towers, Gone with the Wind, Little Britain, and then more to follow. It doesn't matter. South Park will be on the list, surely. I mean, but hopefully those guys will just say, go fuck yourselves. Anyway, so where's this going? Somewhere bad. Somewhere very, very bad. And I think I need to reread 1984 and Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. This paragraph, though, is very telling. Every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book rewritten. Every picture has been repainted. Every statue and street building has been renamed. Every date has been altered, and the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History has stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present, which is the party is always right. Wow. I mean, that is happening now. The guy was a visionary, but actually, I've got to say, I think the reason why a lot of people, when you say read 1984, they can't see, because that's such a miserable looking place. It's so dark, and you know the oppression that they're living under. And Aldous Huxley, I think, got it better. His Brave New World, because it's a shiny place where they're at, where everything is brand new, and you know, encouraged to buy and spend and buy, and encouraged to just sleep around and don't build relationships. It feels like something more like that is happening. I really don't know where this ends. I think because of the COVID thing, I think we're going to lose most of the pubs, and then when we are allowed to go back into pubs, we're going to have to queue and order from apps, and basically the whole going to the pub and having fun will be a thing of the past. It will be a miserable, expensive experience. People will stop going, the pubs will close, people will just drink at home. It's really worrying, really, really worrying. So a pushback has to happen. If the pushback doesn't happen, this will only get worse, because this government is so fucking weak. Boris is pathetic. I'm so glad I didn't vote for that cretin. They're getting one thing right, Brexit, and everything else they're getting wrong. And this is so important. You know, they need to, whatever they can do, to come down with a ton of bricks on any prick that thinks that they can just take it upon themselves, be a violent mob, and throw statues in the river and deface statues and smash them up. But they're not. And the same thing's happening on the States. You know, the Republicans are just rolling over and having their tummies tickled. It's pathetic. But what I fear as well is that if this lot don't do it, if the public don't tell this government to do something about this because we're not having it, then they won't do anything about it because they're weak. I mean, Dominic Raab, just today, brilliant comment, you know, I only need it for my wife and for the Queen. Great comment. A few hours later, you know, virtue signal, and I'm sure he's been told to do it, but that's how weak they are. Now, Dominic Raab, actually, I quite like him. He refuses to bow down to the feminazis as well, you know, but there you go, he's bowed down today for Black Lives Matter, basically. It's pathetic. But if we don't make them do it, then somebody else will come along as an alternative, and this is the fear. Because what is that alternative? You know, a party, a political movement that will deal with these things, and they will, but I fear that they might be the really, really far right, and they'll be the ones that are prepared to do everything, you know, you initially would want them to do. But once they've done that, you know, so once they've, okay, clamped down on this cultural Marxist crap and spanked these little middle class bottoms and send them to go to bed without any dinner, they'll be gone. And then they'll deport all the foreign criminals. So if you come into the country illegally, you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you come here illegally but committed a crime before, they'll be deported. They'll do that. But then they won't stop there, I don't think. They'll think, okay, well, how can we encourage brown people to leave? British born, maybe even, you know, second, third generation British born. Try to persuade them to leave. I don't like it. I don't like it because for me it's not about colour. Yeah, there's my virtue signal, but it really isn't. It's culture. It's culture. We need to really grab this country by the scruff of the neck and remember where we are. Otherwise, we're just going somewhere dark. But that's what I mean. I believe when the actual far right will surface, you know, they will defeat this bunch of pathetic lefties easily. But then where do they stop? You know, who can be pure enough? How far will the purity test go back through your generations and find, you know, one Jew in there or an Irish, you know, a bit of Irish in there, or whatever they feel is not pure English enough or what have you. So I really fear that. And you might just say that I'm mad and that's a load of bollocks, but you know, the people that would do that are not saying that that's what they would do. It's just what I think they would do. Oh, bloody hell. We're in trouble. We really are. We're in big fucking trouble. And I wish I could be more optimistic about it, but I can't. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you think. And see you soon. Bye.
Sometimes, Winston. Sometimes they're 5. Sometimes they're 3. Sometimes they're all of them at once.